everybody keeps talking about how circumstances don't matter and how you should just ignore them when you're trying to manifest something and stuff like that, which is a good advice. Yes, I mean, it's obviously understandable. If you're trying to shift and if you're trying to manifest something, you're gonna have to ignore what you've already created. But nobody talks about how to actually do it. Saying circumstances don't matter and just ignore them is easier said than done when you are literally trying to shift into a very positive state while in the process of experiencing something really negative. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why that happens, like why some people struggle with dealing with circumstances while shifting and manifesting, and what you can actually do to deal with it in a way where you're also making sure that you're shifting into your desired state of being and you're manifesting your desired outcome. Now I know I look a little tired in this video, and I looked a little tired in my previous video as well. It's because I'm actually tired. I look sleepy, as you can tell. I look as if I want to sleep or I just woke up. It's just that I'm tired. A lot's been going on in my life right now, so yeah, just excuse that. So the number one reason why people struggle with dealing with the negative current circumstance they've created is that when it's actually happening, you forget that you're the one who's created it. When you're actually in the circumstance, you forget that you created it. It feels so real. It feels so, okay, it's right here, that you forget that you're the one who's created it. And then even after knowing how manifestation works, you still perceive it as unknowingly, as if it's happening to you. And when you do that, what you're doing is you're giving power to the circumstance you're in, and you're subconsciously saying that it's happening to me. This person has power over me, or this job has power over me, or money has power over me, and I'm not in control. And that happens very subconsciously, and this is coming from my own experience. All right, so that's why a lot of people struggle with dealing with circumstances, because it feels so real. And I get it. It's okay when you are in it, when you're experiencing it. It's obviously it feels real, and obviously it gets really tough to deal with it. Then it obviously gets really tough to keep on focusing on what you're trying to manifest. So to sum it up, the first reason is just that you get lost in the circumstance to the point where you forget that you created it. All right, and the other reason is kind of related to it, is not completely understanding how manifestation works. All right, so if you do not completely understand how manifestation works, you're obviously, when you are in a circumstance, obviously you're gonna think it's happening to you. Obviously you're gonna think the outside thing, person, money, or job has power over you rather than you having power over it. That's reason number two as to why people struggle with dealing with circumstances also, is because they do not completely understand how manifestation works. They do not completely grasp onto the idea that they are the source of that circumstance. So all these little things are really important. People think deciding your goal and then focusing on it is enough. By the way, it's actually enough, because you're constantly manifesting 24/7, so you don't have to completely know and understand the ins and outs of manifestation. It's completely fine. You can still manifest. I have done it. But the thing is, it gets easier to deal with circumstances when you actually understand what's happening, what's going on, and how you're creating and how you're the source of it all. It gets easier to not take the circumstance seriously. So that's the reason number two, that you do not completely understand how manifestation is working. And the last reason, which I see people unknowingly doing and then struggling with the circumstances they've manifested, it is the new goal that they're manifesting. They don't completely believe that they can have it, and they don't yet have that knowing that that's going to happen. What happens is, when you have a strong knowing, that means you're trusting that you deserve to have this goal. All right, knowing is just that. You know that, yeah, I deserve to have this in my life, and I'm going to have this in my life. And then when you know it, you do not really take anything else which is in contradiction of your goal seriously. And that's when it gets really easy to ignore, so to speak, the circumstance. So lack of knowing creates doubt, contradiction, as I talked about in my previous video, which makes it harder to deal with the current negative circumstance you're in. So those are some reasons as to why you struggle with dealing with the circumstances in your reality. And the only thing you need to understand is that your physical realm is nothing but a reflection, literally like a mirror. It's all in your head. Each and every little detail you're experiencing in your life was in your head or is already in your head, and that's why you're still experiencing it. It's just a reflection. All right, all is one, all is just one in this huge energetic web, and I'm not going to go in detail of that. It's just that know that you're one with literally everything. Every little thing on this planet, you're one with it. So once you really just accept that idea, dealing with circumstances is going to become really, really easy. Really easy. You're not going to take it seriously because you're just going to know, all right, I'm the source of it. So, but now I'm creating this. So this doesn't really matter anymore. So now this brings me to how to actually deal with it. Also, a really good sign that what you're doing is sinking in, even though I do not really believe in signs. Do not look for signs, all right? Even though it's good because it tells your brain that, all right, what you're doing is working. So I always assign good meanings to the movement which happens before my manifestation actually comes. It's good to acknowledge those signs or that little movement that it actually creates momentum around what you're creating, but you should not be focused on signs. You should not be going ahead on YouTube and looking for videos which say signs your manifestations are coming, or signs you're doing it right, signs you're doing this right. It doesn't matter. Signs don't matter, all right? They're good if they pop up, yes, but do we look for it? No, we don't look for it. We only look for what we are creating. So still, a good sign that what you're doing is working is once you stop reacting to your old circumstances the way you used to, once you stop reacting to it in a negative way, it means you're changing, all right? So that's what we're trying to do here. So the first thing to do, the very first thing always to do whenever you're in a negative circumstance bothering you, is to always remind yourself that this circumstance, and when it also happened in the past, it happened because of me. I'm the source of it, all right? I've created it. I created it in the past. Now it's also popping up because of me, just my reflection. Whenever you do that, you're constantly letting your brain know that you are the source, you're the creator of your life, right? That's really important. And when you do it over and over and over again, that also becomes a belief. And that belief is gonna, as I said initially in my video, once you do realize that you're the source of it, you tend to take things not so seriously. And that's what we're trying to do here. So whenever you are in a negative circumstance and you're trying to manifest something, you just remind yourself, all right, I'm the source of it. It doesn't really matter anymore. You have to do it every time you are bothered by it, all right? And once you remind yourself that, all right, I'm the source of it, and I've been the source of it in the past also, but you know what you're gonna do after that, you're just gonna remind yourself that this is what you're exactly gonna say. This doesn't matter anymore. This is not who I am anymore. This is who I used to be. Now, yes, we're talking about the circumstance here. Circumstance is a consequence of a very specific state of being you used to be, a very specific version of yourself you used to be. That's why we're saying this is not who I am anymore. This doesn't matter anymore. This doesn't belong to me anymore. I have changed, so it doesn't matter anymore. This is not who I am. All of this is about to change. And you have to keep on just reminding yourself of that until you get this feeling of relief, and then just take your attention off of it. Like, your attention won't be there, all right? Once you get that sense of relief in your body, or just in your head, or whatever you want to call it, it's up to you. Once you get that sense of relief, you're naturally going to not give it so much attention. You're naturally going to ignore it, all right? That's gonna happen very naturally. You won't have to force yourself to ignore it. That doesn't work. When you're trying to force yourself to ignore something which is right in front of your eyes, it tells me you still believe in it a lot, all right? It should be natural. I don't know what other people are teaching you guys, but it should be natural. If you're forcing yourself to not put your attention on it, you know what you're really doing? You're really subconsciously giving it more power, all right? Because when you try to do something, when you try too hard to do something, it always comes from the place of not believing and doubting that if you can have what you want. So rather than forcing yourself to ignore circumstances, remind yourself that you're the source of it, and you've been the source of it all this while, and then remind yourself, this is not who I am anymore. This is who I used to be, but this is not who I am anymore. So this doesn't matter anymore. It ain't mine anymore. This is not mine anymore. This all is about to change because I have changed and I'm changing, and this doesn't belong to me. And that's when, again, once you get the sense of relief, you're naturally not gonna pay attention to it. You're naturally gonna become very indifferent towards it. And that's what we're looking for. And that's how you deal with it. And once you do that, you just remind yourself again of the goal that the goal that you're manifesting. You remind yourself of that. You become that version in that moment. And yeah, it's just gonna go away. The more you do it, the more you practice it, the less it's gonna affect you. And you are actually in the process, gonna manifest what you are manifesting. If you want, you can write it down. Just write it down so that you don't forget what I'm trying to say here, and just do that the next time you're in the circumstance. And once you do that, other thing you can also do is, once you get that sense of relief, again, as I said, shift into your desired version and remind yourself of your goal. So you either can affirm or whatever you like to do to manifest, just do that and move on, all right? And do something else. Go ahead and live your life, all right? Just do that. The other thing you can do, which I also liked doing and I still do, is looking at your circumstance, looking at that negative circumstance from the new version of yourself. So what you do is you pause for a moment when you are in that circumstance. You mentally, you become that new version of yourself, and then you perceive or look at the circumstance you're in, because that new version of yourself, the new version of you, is going to look at that negative circumstance you've created very differently. Your perspective is going to be very different once you shift, all right? And I'm 100% sure that the better version of yourself you are trying to move into has a very non-serious perspective towards the circumstance you're currently in. I hope that makes sense. So, for example, let's just say, I'm just gonna take this example because a lot of people relate to this. Let's just say you are manifesting a person and there is a third person in the dynamic. So, rather than being triggered by it, what you do here is you shift into your new version, a version of yourself who believes that he or she deserves to have this person. He or she deserves to have love in their life. He or she deserves to have a beautiful, committed relationship in their life. How would that version look at this third party? They won't perceive this third person as a threat, all right? They won't perceive it as a threat. They won't perceive this person as anything, all right? And they won't mind that. They would ignore, like literally, they will naturally ignore this person because they know they're the best, right? That's what I'm trying to say. You, in that moment, you shift into that new state of being, and then you look at the circumstance you're in. It's gonna appear really different, all right? It's gonna appear really, really different. So let's just say you're trying to manifest money, and in the current circumstance, you don't really have any, right? And you're constantly manifesting circumstances where you're having to spend a lot. So what you do, you shift into your abundant state of being, a version of yourself who's making good amount of money left and right. How would that version of you perceive expenses? You anyways have to spend money on these expenses that you have right now. Why not do that from your desired state of being? Why not use that to actually create that new state of being? You can literally do that, all right? It's fun. It's like a game, to be honest. So just take it as a game. Do not take it very seriously. So that's the other thing you can do. And this other thing, I don't want to intend that it's tricky, but sometimes it might get tricky to kind of shift into that desired state of being when you are in that circumstance. That's why I told you what I told you earlier in this video. Remind yourself you're the source. Just do not claim it. Do not claim that it's yours. Just keep on saying, you know, this is who I used to be. This is not who I am anymore. This doesn't belong to me. This is about to change. I don't have to worry about it anymore. When you keep on saying that, you're actually going to stop worrying about it. That's just how it works. All right. It's all about tricking your mind and making it believe into the new thing that you are manifesting. That's it. That's how you deal with negative circumstances. You don't have to force yourself to ignore it. Use it to create the new desired state you are shifting into. You can literally use it for your own benefit. All right. So I know this video helped you. I know this video helped you because this is something I personally do and always works out. This always works out. It's been working out for me even when I had no idea about manifestation, and I was just doing it very subconsciously. I don't know. I wish I could just share my personal stories. Maybe one day I will do that once I have that channel membership thing, but for now, just know that this works. This really, really works. Just give it a a try. Let me know if it works out for you. Let me know if there is something you are doing to deal with your circumstances. I would love to know that. I would love to know more ideas as to how we can deal with the old crap we created. All right, and yeah, hopefully I am not gonna look sleepy in my next video. I'm gonna get enough sleep so I do not look sleepy in my next video. But yeah, if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in my next video.